Chosen one? Yes, I'm speaking directly to you. Imagine this. You've spent days, maybe weeks, quietly doing what's right, praying when nobody sees, forgiving when it hurts, giving when it stretches you. No applause, no recognition, just silence. You might have wondered, does anyone notice? Here's the truth. Heaven notices. Every whispered yes, every hidden act of faith, every quiet choice to walk in integrity. It all matters. And today, I want you to see something remarkable. Those small, unseen moments of obedience, they make God smile. They make angels lean in. They move the heart of heaven itself. So take a deep breath. Let this message find you where you are, in your quiet valley, your unseen struggles. Because what I'm about to share is just for you, and it's coming at exactly the right time. Faithful steps in the dark, chosen one. Let's start right here, right now, with a truth that may feel familiar to you. Sometimes, life doesn't come with signs. Sometimes, the road ahead is foggy, uncertain, and frightening. You can't see the end. You don't hear applause. You can't feel reassurance from the world around you. And yet, you keep moving. You keep taking steps of faith, even when the darkness surrounds you. That's what it means to take faithful steps in the dark. Think about it. Maybe this is your season. You wake up each morning carrying worries that feel heavier than your body, but you still choose to pray. You still choose to forgive that person who hurt you last year. You still choose to show up for your family, even when exhaustion whispers, "Why bother?" You do it quietly, unnoticed, invisible. Yet in the unseen, in the spiritual realm, your steps are shaking foundations. Your faith is making heaven lean in, listening, rejoicing. Let me tell you a story. A woman named Maria, a single mom in Ohio, had been struggling for months. Bills piling up, a car that kept breaking down, a job that barely covered rent. One evening, she felt a tug in her heart to give what little she had to a local shelter, even though her own fridge was nearly empty. She hesitated. Logic screamed, "Don't do it. You need that money." But something deeper, the quiet whisper of God, urged her forward. So she did it. She gave. The next week, something unexpected happened. Her car, the one she thought would leave her stranded, suddenly ran without issue. A friend she hadn't spoken to in years sent a gift card in the mail. The situation wasn't perfect, but the small step she took in faith had shifted her life in ways she couldn't see immediately. That's what it looks like to walk in the dark. You act on what you know to be right, even when there's no visible reward. And in those steps, God notices. Heaven celebrates. Angels lean closer. Here's the lesson, and I want you to hear this slowly. Faithful steps are more powerful than perfect plans. You don't need a perfect roadmap. You don't need every piece of the puzzle in place. You just need a willing heart. A heart that says yes when it's easier to say no. A heart that obeys when it doesn't make sense. A heart that trusts when circumstances scream, "Give up." Many of us get stuck thinking, "I have to see the whole staircase before I step, or I'll fall." But that's not how faith works. Faith isn't seeing. Faith is stepping. It's moving forward, even when the outcome is invisible, even when nobody notices, even when fear whispers that it's pointless. The truth is, the very act of moving is what triggers heaven's response. Your obedience is not small, it's monumental. And it creates ripples that reach far beyond what your eyes can see. Here's another real-life example. John, a pastor in Texas, spent years quietly mentoring teenagers in his community. He never advertised it. There were no signs, no awards, no social media posts praising him. But one day, a young man he had walked with since middle school returned, now thriving, now mentoring others, now sharing how John's quiet, faithful guidance had changed his life. That is the fruit of steps taken in darkness. One act of faith quietly sown can bloom into a lifetime of transformation. For you, for others, for the kingdom. And this isn't limited to dramatic acts. Sometimes it's the small choices. Sending a kind message to someone struggling, resisting the urge to gossip, turning off the TV and praying for a loved one. Every single quiet step in faith is heard in the heavens. And if you feel invisible, that's exactly the point. Your steps are meant to be seen by the one who matters most. Now, let's pause for a moment. I want you to picture your own life, the moments where you've acted in faith quietly, maybe even thinking it didn't matter. That's where heaven rejoices. That's where your unseen obedience becomes the sound that shakes the spiritual realm. That's where God leans closer, smiles, and says, "This one is mine." Before we move to the next step, remember this. Faith in the dark isn't about perfection. It's about perseverance. It's about choosing to move when the world says, "Stand still." It's about trusting God's timing, even when you can't understand it. And as you take these steps, God is already at work behind the scenes, aligning your circumstances, planting seeds, and preparing rewards that only He can orchestrate. And that brings us to the next part, the next layer of truth. Because once you understand the power of faithful steps in the dark, you're ready to discover how small acts of obedience can create eternal impact, even when no one else is watching. Living upright in a fallen world. Chosen one. Now let's talk about something that touches every single one of us. Living upright in a world that often doesn't reward integrity. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet tug in your heart to do the right thing, even when everyone else seems to be cutting corners, taking shortcuts, or ignoring what's just. It's not easy. It's exhausting. And sometimes it feels like no one notices. Or worse, they laugh at you for being too honest or too careful. But here's the truth. Heaven notices. God notices. And the world's applause, or lack of it, does not determine the value of your choices. Every moment you choose honesty over deceit, kindness over cruelty, patience over anger, you are living upright in a fallen world. And each of these choices sends ripples far beyond what your eyes can see. Let me give you a story. There's a man named Marcus, a small business owner in Atlanta. Every day, he faced temptation. Suppliers overcharging, competitors spreading rumors, employees cutting corners. Marcus had every reason to bend the rules, to do what it takes to succeed, but he didn't. Every contract he signed was fair. Every deal he made was honest. Every interaction was rooted in integrity, even when it cost him time, money, or convenience. At first, it seemed pointless. Competitors were growing faster. People laughed at his old-fashioned ways. But over time, something remarkable happened. His employees trusted him deeply. They stayed loyal when others left. His customers returned, not just because of quality products, but because they trusted Marcus as a man of integrity. And, most importantly, doors opened in ways he couldn't have planned. Opportunities appeared that only a life rooted in uprightness could attract. Heaven was quietly rewarding him all along. Here's the lesson, and I want you to hear it slowly. Integrity is never wasted. Doing what is right, even when no one is watching, is a spiritual investment. It might feel small or insignificant, but it carries eternal weight. Living upright is like planting seeds in soil that you cannot see. The growth is unseen at first, but the harvest, it comes, and it's abundant, more than you could ever imagine. Let's take another example, closer to home. Imagine a young woman named Emma who works in a busy office. She could easily gossip, exaggerate her accomplishments, or take credit for work she didn't fully do. But she doesn't. She chooses transparency, speaks truth, and treats her coworkers with respect. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes she feels overlooked. But here's the thing. By choosing uprightness, she's creating a culture of trust, a chain reaction of respect that will follow her for years. What feels small today may shape careers, relationships, and even communities tomorrow. And here's the deeper spiritual truth. Living upright is a magnet for divine favor. Matthew 5:8 reminds us, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." Every decision you make to walk the narrow road, when the crowd chooses the easy path, draws God closer. Your life becomes a quiet testimony that heaven sees, heaven honors, and heaven rejoices. Now, I know it's tempting to measure success by the world's standards, popularity, wealth, recognition. But those are temporary. They fade. What lasts is character, faithfulness, and uprightness. You might be tired of choosing right over easy, honest over convenient. But each choice strengthens your spiritual muscles, builds resilience, and aligns your life with God's kingdom. Here's a small exercise for you, and I want you to do it in your mind as we talk. Think of one decision you made recently that was upright, even though it wasn't easy. Picture that moment. Feel the choice you made. Now hear this. Heaven saw it. God smiled. Angels leaned closer. That one act of obedience, in a world that might not understand, is monumental in the spiritual realm. But there's more. Living upright also protects you. Choices rooted in integrity shield you from the long-term consequences of dishonesty, shortcuts, and compromise. It might feel like the easy path is winning, but in reality, the temporary gain often carries hidden losses, broken trust, guilt, and missed spiritual alignment. Upright living may be hard, but it is safe, it is secure, and it positions you for blessings that last a lifetime. Before we move on to the next principle, remember this: you are not alone. The path of uprightness can feel isolating, but this is where your courage shines brightest. By walking faithfully when everyone else walks sideways, you are a light in darkness. You are a testimony. You are a chosen one, walking with God's favor, even when it isn't obvious. And now, the next layer of your journey is ready for you. Because after learning to step faithfully in the dark and to live upright in a fallen world, the next truth will show you how small acts of love, obedience, and sacrifice, those quiet, invisible choices, can create eternal impact that touches lives beyond what you can imagine, reaping the secret reward. Chosen one. Now that you've taken faithful steps in the dark and lived upright in a fallen world, it's time to talk about the most beautiful part of this journey, the secret reward. This isn't about applause, likes, or recognition from others. This is about the divine, quiet, life-transforming reward that heaven keeps for those who obey faithfully when no one is watching. Have you ever done something hard, something costly, and felt like no one noticed? Maybe you forgave someone who hurt you deeply. Maybe you gave sacrificially when your own needs were pressing. Maybe you spent late nights praying or helping others, unseen. And you wondered, did it even matter? Let me tell you right now, it matters more than you can imagine. The reward of heaven often comes quietly, almost imperceptibly at first. Take, for example, a woman named Clara. She worked as a nurse during a difficult season in her life. Her shifts were long, her patients were demanding, and her own family was struggling. Still, she chose to smile, to serve, and to pray for each patient, even when she felt exhausted and invisible. At the time, it seemed like no one appreciated her. But years later, a patient she had prayed over became a key supporter in a ministry she was building. Another patient shared that Clara's kindness inspired their life decisions. Clara's unseen obedience planted seeds that grew into blessings far beyond her immediate vision. This is the essence of the secret reward. It's the fruit of faithfulness that blooms in ways you cannot measure. Every time you choose to do the right thing, when it costs you time, energy, or comfort, you are sowing a seed into God's kingdom. And just like a seed planted in the dark soil, you don't always see it sprout immediately. But God sees, heaven sees, and your harvest is guaranteed. Here's a practical way to understand it. Imagine you are quietly writing letters of encouragement to people who are struggling. No one knows you are doing it. There are no likes, no public recognition. But imagine that years later, one of those letters is read at a pivotal moment in someone's life, giving them courage to change their path. That is your secret reward. You may never know the full scope of your impact, but it is monumental. Now, let's connect this to Scripture. Matthew 6:6 says, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." Notice it says reward, not just acknowledgement. God's rewards aren't always immediate, flashy, or visible to the world, but they are real, lasting, and perfectly timed. Sometimes, the secret reward is peace in the midst of chaos. Sometimes it's provision when you've given beyond your comfort zone. Sometimes it's opportunities, connections, or wisdom that arrives exactly when you need it. And sometimes it's joy. The kind of joy that fills your soul quietly, yet profoundly, reminding you that your efforts are never wasted. Think of a man named Elijah, not the prophet, but a modern Elijah, a small business owner in Chicago. He was known for going the extra mile for his employees, always prioritizing fairness over profit. For years he worried, am I making the right choices? No one sees this work. Am I even successful? But slowly, doors opened. Investors who valued integrity approached him. Customers who recognized his fairness stayed loyal. His business grew sustainably, not by shortcuts or compromise, but by his faithfulness. That is the principle of the secret reward. Consistent, faithful obedience eventually yields a harvest far beyond the immediate. Here's the lesson I want you to carry in your heart. The secret reward is a reflection of God's intimate attention to your life. You may not get instant feedback, but every act of integrity, every quiet prayer, every selfless choice is being recorded in heaven. You are not invisible. You are seen. You are celebrated. And when the timing is right, what has been hidden will manifest openly, gloriously, and abundantly. Now, I want to give you a small exercise for your mind and spirit. Take a moment and reflect on one action you took recently that felt unseen. Maybe it was forgiving someone, giving generously, or choosing patience in a difficult relationship. Picture heaven witnessing that act. Picture angels leaning closer. Picture God smiling. Let that reality sink into your heart. That single act carries eternal weight. That seed you planted is beginning to bloom. Finally, the secret reward isn't just about what you receive, it's about who you become. The process of faithfully obeying, of choosing right over easy, of giving when it costs, transforms your heart. It makes you resilient, humble, and deeply aligned with God's purpose. Your reward isn't just blessings, it's growth, it's character. It's the assurance that you are walking in God's favor, step by step, day by day. And as we transition from this principle, remember this: the secret reward connects every act you've done, every choice you've made, and every step you've taken. It prepares you for the next season, the public fruit of your private faithfulness. When heaven rejoices in your quiet obedience, the world will eventually see the evidence. But even before that moment, know this: you are deeply honored, eternally valued, and divinely celebrated. So take a breath, chosen one. Your obedience matters. Your faithfulness is seen. Your reward is real. And the next step in your journey? It's about stepping boldly into the life God has been preparing for you, fully confident that the secret harvest is already in motion. Chosen one. As we draw this message to a close, I want you to pause for a moment and breathe in this truth. What you've done in secret, what you've sown in quiet faith, is being celebrated in heaven right now. Every step you've taken in darkness, every choice to stand upright in a fallen world, every act of obedience and surrender, they all matter. They have eternal impact. You are not invisible. Your sacrifices, your prayers, your moments of courage, they echo in the throne room. Heaven is not silent about your faithfulness. The angels lean in. God Himself smiles. And the reward? It's coming. Perhaps not in the way the world expects, perhaps not immediately, but it is real, it is powerful, and it is perfectly timed. Here's what I want you to do right now. Take one small act of faith you've been postponing and step forward today. Forgive that person. Give that gift. Pray that prayer. Choose integrity when compromise is tempting. Don't wait for recognition. Don't wait for applause. Do it for the one who sees all. Your obedience is your harvest, and your harvest is coming. If this message has stirred something in your heart, here's how to respond. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that their hidden acts matter. Your obedience can inspire others to keep going. Remember, chosen one, your life is not measured by what the world sees, but by what heaven celebrates. You didn't just make choices. You moved the heart of God. You planted seeds in darkness that will bloom into blessings in the light. Keep stepping forward. Keep walking in faith. Keep obeying when no one is watching. The world may not notice now, but one day your testimony will shine. Heaven has already been rejoicing over you, and soon the evidence will be seen. You are chosen. You are honored. You are celebrated. And your reward is on the way. So take that step today. Your faith is powerful, your obedience is eternal, and heaven is cheering you on.